Convicted killers now in Bernalillo County's house arrest program. According to online court records, J.J. Begay was convicted of voluntary manslaughter 6 years ago. Then in March 2009, police say he beat a woman until her face turned purple.
The window was slightly open and you could hear him slapping or doing whatever he was doing to her. But that's a pretty far away, and him screaming and stuff. No, sorry.
Sylvia Lopez was next door. Police say Begay ran from officers and they used a taser on him twice. He was convicted of battery upon an officer and placed into community custody, a program county officials say is not for violent offenders.
That was violent, you know what I mean? So why would he be in that program?
We took her question to the woman who oversees the program. Captain Heather Locke says District Judge Stan Whitaker ordered CCP for Begay.
I'm calling regarding the case of J.J. Begay. So thank you.
Our calls to Judge Whitaker were not returned. Locke says the jail can disagree with an order by sending a letter. Documents obtained by Eyewitness News 4 showed a jail committee approved Begay for CCP. Then there's one final way to disqualify an inmate. A case manager fills out this scoring matrix. The higher the score, the less likely an inmate will be let into the program. Begay's scoring matrix shows he got a 5 out of 50, putting him in the desirable category.
With J.J. Begay, on his, it was a push to an officer in an attempt to get away. It wasn't a battery in a different aspects.
Jail officials didn't even know Begay had a manslaughter conviction in Gallup until we told them about it.
Okay, and then sometimes on those types of aspects, we don't have that on our evaluation. We won't have Gallup. We have local. We have district courts.
Is that concerning at all?
Well, if it's a conviction, absolutely, we would want that.
We took a closer look at the scoring matrix and noticed something else. A score of 7 to 12 points is considered acceptable. A rape or murder charge equals 9 points, the same score as not having a telephone in your home.
Do you think that someone who's accused of murder should get only 9 points and possibly fall into the acceptable category?
Usually somebody with 9 points will have some other aspects going on.
While the jail committee considers previous convictions, Locke says they have let criminals with violent pasts into the program if a judge orders CCP. That was the case for Joe Sanchez. He killed Alex Garcia about a decade ago. And then last year, Judge Kenneth Martinez placed him on CCP for a domestic violence conviction. We contacted Judge Martinez. He didn't want to go on camera and didn't remember the case, but he says a voluntary manslaughter conviction 10 years ago doesn't preclude CCP. We also found Joseph Hamon. According to court records, he was also convicted of voluntary manslaughter 11 years ago for attacking and killing an unarmed man with a baseball bat. Then last year, Metro Court Judge Maria Dominguez okayed CCP for his third DWI.
Hi, I'm looking for Mr. Hamon or Joseph.
Joseph Hamon, he's not in right now.
We went to Hamon's house and spoke with his uncle.
Some people would say he still killed a person, though.
Yeah.
What do you say to those people?
He already done his time for that crime that he did, and they should just back off and let him live his life.
Miss Mariama, Eyewitness News 4. That sound means it's time to rattle the cage.
I don't want to sensationalize and say it's a war here, but it certainly is a battle and a struggle.
What station do you have there?
A high-tech security system, armed guards, and surprise searches aren't enough to keep drugs out of the Bernalillo County Jail. Jail Chief Ron Torres says 8 out of every 10 prisoners are booked while high on some kind of drug, and many will go to any length to feed their addiction. We got an exclusive look at how the jail is fighting back. It's called a shakedown. No one knows about the search ahead of time, except for top officials.
And the idea is just to change the routine.
Exactly. Keep them off guard, because it's a cat and mouse game in here.
Dogs sniff out contraband in cells, while teams look for drugs under tables, tucked into toilet paper rolls, and hidden in mattresses. Guards find what looks like Vicodin or OxyContin, then tobacco, a lighter, a syringe, and...
This is heroin. This alone, this would probably, inside the jail, that's probably about $300 right there. And that's a lot of heroin. And this could probably get at least 5 people pretty high.
The drugs were found in a cell that housed 32-year-old John Bylan and 29-year-old Kevin Baca. Now they're both facing additional charges.
We lock them down at 8 o'clock, and they're in their cells until 7 or 8 in the morning. So during that whole time, they're just finding ways to do what they can get away with.
The big question is, how do they sneak it in?
Master Controller Lieutenant Goodwin.
Mail, personal delivery, contraband, anytime an inmate's exposed to the external environment, such as cleaning details and court appearances, literally being chucked over the fence. We found acid under stamps on mail envelopes. Everything you can imagine, every method you can think of, they've thought of it and they've attempted it.
The jail says it's even caught attorneys bringing drugs to their jailed clients. So now inmates don't meet face-to-face with visitors. Instead, they use video conferencing. The jail chief admits if inmates can't get it from the outside, sometimes they look closer to home. This former jail kitchen supervisor is accused of bringing drugs to work last year.
Of course, when you're employing 700 people, you have 700 people working somewhere, you're going to have people making bad choices. That's unfortunate.
Torres says it's become more important to guess whether a law-abiding employee will cross the line.
Maybe they're not engaged in a criminal conduct, but are there flags that indicate they may choose to do so in the future?
He says gangs are the biggest source of drugs.
We've even heard of cases where gang members are picking up probation violations intentionally just to be mules and bring drugs into the facilities as a part of their arrest.
The jail is struggling to be one step ahead in an uphill battle where attacks come from nearly every front.
Drugs in here, it's a money-making system in here. And it's just like out in the streets, if people want it, they're going to try to get it in it. There's a will, there's a way.
He's going to wreck out 45. Got to bail out, Pat.
Stop! Drug and illegal immigrant smuggling skyrocketing in the Boot Hill.
This one here is alien smuggling. And
the more they squeeze from Arizona, then it's going to funnel into Hidalgo County.
Officials say what's happening in Arizona
It's a big old bundle of dope right there.
may be pushing traffickers east into New Mexico.
Since they have voted yes on that bill in Arizona, we have seen an increase in alien smuggling, more than usual, more than what we've seen in the past years, just in the past 2 weeks.
Well, Arizona's immigration law doesn't go into effect until late July. Hidalgo County law enforcement say they saw a smuggling surge immediately after the law was signed.
Could be people maybe just want to get over here before the bill.
We rode along with deputies to see the situation firsthand. Corporal Gary Lassiter showed us a hot spot at the Arizona-New Mexico state line.
We looked, and there's foot sign everywhere. Yeah. But we smell the marijuana, but we could not find it.
Fresh tracks, clothes, blankets.
This is their strap.
Okay.
The bundle is going to be behind here.
And signs of the drug trade.
This is what's filled with marijuana.
It wasn't long before deputies found $100,000 worth of marijuana in a car they say was driven by an illegal immigrant who's already been deported 10 times.
Feels good that we got something off the street that doesn't need to be on the street.
61.4.
Deputies also found $50,000 worth of pot.
Were they shoved in, or?
Yeah, they were shoved in.
In the gas tank of a truck. Deputies say it was headed to Albuquerque. Why all this action in the Boot Hill? Officials tell Eyewitness News 4 Hidalgo County has fewer deputies and a smaller Border Patrol force responsible for patrolling a larger area. And take a look at these mountains. The steep terrain cuts radio and cell phone reception. Luna County Sheriff says smugglers always find the path of least resistance. And right now, that path is winding through the boot heel.
It's just going to be easier to get into this area. You have less officers, more territory. That's where I would go.
Refugees from all over the world.
Congo, Nepal, Tanzania.
Now in the Plaza Dorado apartments in southeast Albuquerque.
The total African population is about 140 children. But here, about 80 children in this complex, and then the families.
This woman, known as Mama Ghazi,
How are you?
is now in the 16th day of a hunger strike to raise awareness about refugees who she says are dumped in poverty.
I said, enough is enough. When I see people going through dumpsters looking for used clothes and household items, and then a lot of them just wasting away in their homes, no jobs.
I would say the system is in many respects broken.
Marshall Jensen runs the only program that resettles refugees in New Mexico. Catholic Charities is contracted by the State Department to help with basic living expenses for the first 4 months. State Senator Tim Keller read about the hunger strike and met with Mama Ghazi. He acknowledges refugees need help.
Obviously in a budget deficit cycle, and so what that means is that we don't have extra funding right now that we can just immediately send to these individuals.
Misa Mariama, Eyewitness News 4.